Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this emergency broadcast of the Tempcast. Even though, can we call this a broadcast? I mean, we're broadcasting to the internet, but it's not like live, so you can't call it a Anyways, but guys, it's not even normal recording day time. It's Wednesday? And this
Tuesday.
Just happened. It's Tuesday, but it's probably coming out on Wednesday. So this just happened like a couple of hours ago. This huge major acquisition. Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard, and this is probably the biggest news of the day, probably unless Russia invades like right now. This is how major this is.
We'll keep a live running tally update on whether or not Russia invades before the end of the episode.
It would be like so historical, though. Imagine the Tempcast being the first podcast recorded live during an invasion. Like, that's gotta be awesome. A first. It's gotta be a first.
That would have to be.
Yeah. But anyways, this is, oh my God. Like, where do I even start with this? Like, how unexpected. What is going on, Steven? I know you wrote the article as fast as possible, so you're the one who's more informed. Could you give like a brief rundown, quick rundown, whatever, on what just happened?
Yeah, so basically Microsoft has been on a bit of a tear lately, buying a whole bunch of different studios. As some people know, they bought a bunch of smaller development studios. They bought ZeniMax a little over a year ago, who owns Bethesda and id and all those people. And that was the biggest deal at the time. That was like a gigantic acquisition, and I don't think anyone expected it to be overtaken by this. I don't think anyone expected, like, so the reason Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard is so surprising isn't just because it's an enormous corporation to be bought. It's because Activision Blizzard is in the middle of a shitstorm right now.
Yeah,
they've been investigated by the state of California and the SEC starting last summer for workplace discrimination and a lot of reports of sexual harassment. They've been bleeding people consistently since a little bit before then. A ton of people have left Blizzard, the Blizzard side of things, and started their own companies because a lot of people don't like the creative direction at Blizzard. And since these investigations have started, I think about 40 people have been fired. There have been reports of that Activision has lost 40 employees since July 2021 when the state of California's investigation was first opened.
So what about who's the current CEO of Activision Blizzard?
Bobby Kotick. And
is he going to stay CEO after this merger?
In their press release, Microsoft says that Bobby Kotick will be staying in his position. I've seen some people. The Verge was reporting that they said it looks like Bobby Kotick will be leaving after the deal is finalized and the merger is completed and all that. But I don't know where they're actually getting that. Like, they don't cite a source. They don't say it's a rumor. They don't really have anything. So I don't know if they're misinterpreting the data. I don't know if they are citing a source. I don't know if they're speculating. But aside from some people just saying it, everything is pointing to Bobby Kotick staying as CEO of Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, this is like some people are happy for some reason. I don't see anything to be happy about. Like, if you were a fan of Activision Blizzard, I don't think this changes much. I mean, we're not seeing any changes in terms of the presidents, the CEO of the company. Like, we're not seeing any drastic changes in the company culture. This is just an acquisition.
The only thing that would be positive is that Microsoft is kind of the darling of the gaming industry right now. They've been so far behind with the Xbox One and the Series S and X that they've been trying very hard to catch up. People love Game Pass. For the most part, people enjoy Phil Spencer because he's a little bit more candid about the gaming industry than executives normally are. He'll talk about other companies. He's been very collaborative with Nintendo and stuff like that, which I think we talked about a few weeks ago. But
yeah, but I don't know if I download a game on Game Pass that was developed by rapists.
No, it doesn't really change anything. and Activision also, so like the other big controversy I forgot to mention with Activision was the whole China thing. Which game was it was it Overwatch
it was a Hearthstone player.
Hearthstone, yeah.
Yeah, and his name was it's Blitzchung.
Right.
Blitzchung.
Right, and he said something supportive about Hong Kong, and Blizzard kind of screwed him over and completely caved to pressure, which wasn't good. And like, that's not something that I would see changing under Microsoft.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't people hail Microsoft as this like American company, but like still it's any company that deals with Tencent or China as a whole or Chinese companies, they have to bow down to the Lord and Savior, Mr. Xi Jinping.
Yeah.
Because you got to do that if you want to have business in China.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is, like I said, Microsoft is the darling right now, but that's because they're in a bad position. They'll eventually get back to a position of power, and then they'll be just as shitty as any other company, you know? Companies don't do this to be good. Even if the company is mainly respectful of players and does good things during the tenure of Phil Spencer's run, he's going to leave and he's probably going to get replaced by somebody crappy. And, you know, it just isn't good for one company to have all this power, to have so much control over the industry.
What if Bobby Kotick becomes the CEO of Microsoft?
That would be awful. That would not be good. Bobby Kotick has not proven himself to care much about the games that he's doing, and he has not proven himself.
Doesn't matter. He brings in profits. He's only been a failure for the past couple of years, but for most of the time he was CEO, Activision was bringing in mad revenue.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so from a business standpoint. But this acquisition is so insane. Just so you understand now, Crash Bandicoot is now owned by Microsoft.
And Spyro.
But nobody cares about Spyro. But Crash Bandicoot, though, that's like a PlayStation darling. That used to be PlayStation's Mario. And now Microsoft owns that IP. This is so insane.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, obviously this isn't new, but like they also own Banjo-Kazooie. It's weird to think that they are like, Microsoft missed the 3D platformer era of gaming, and so they're just buying up all the icons and staples of that era. Like,
wow, yeah. So I don't know what to think. Really, I'm very conflicted about this acquisition. I think it's good that Blizzard's specifically their IPs like Warcraft, StarCraft, I think that's definitely going to be something that Microsoft would want to develop further.
Yeah.
Like possibly some kind of new single player games for Game Pass are going to be in development, because I don't see them. Like Warcraft's been kind of shit lately, like World of Warcraft, right?
Okay, I don't follow it.
But like there's an entire thing where people are switching to Final Fantasy, that MMO, Final Fantasy 14, I think.
Yeah.
Because of how bad Warcraft has become recently. Who knows? Maybe now that Microsoft owns all these studios, they could just take the Warcraft IP, give it to some other studio, to Bethesda or something, and make like an RPG set in the Warcraft universe. Like nothing's off the table now.
No.
So this is... that's a good thing. Hopefully they bring in like proper direction to Blizzard and there. Hopefully that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that they continue with their practices that are focused mostly on profits, on games as a service. Like what? By the way, what's going on with Overwatch 2?
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is like Bethesda. Like some people have pointed out, Bethesda had Starfield in development hell for a long time, and then not long after that, Microsoft acquisition, they had a release date, they had trailers, all that. Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 have similarly just kind of been announced and abandoned, and there's weird news every now and then, and they're still in. I shouldn't say abandoned because they're still in development, but nobody really knows what the hell is going on.
I don't think the people who are working on Overwatch 2 even know what's going on.
No. Well, that's because the people that are working on Overwatch 2 seem to change every couple months.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get more solid news on that eventually. Well, I shouldn't say eventually, relatively soon. I don't think they'll be coming out soon, but I think we'll get news on them fairly soon. And I think this will be good in the short term. You know, like I said, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 will come out. They'll probably be decent. Game Pass is going to get hugely bolstered, and Game Pass is a very good deal right now. Again, I don't think that's going to last. I think eventually it'll be like, you know, movie and TV streaming services and subscription services where everything gets splintered and broken and all that. But in the short term, we're going to get some good games, and Game Pass will be great. But I don't think there's anything to look forward to this in the long term. It's also worth pointing out that Activision Blizzard also owns King, who makes Candy Crush, which isn't usually super relevant to what we talk about, but that game still does make
a pretty decent amount of money.
It's coming to Game Pass now.
It probably will be. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see that name leveraged in some way by Microsoft, or if they use that as an entryway into mobile gaming further. Or, even just it makes the whole deal make a little bit more sense because they're going to be making so much friggin' money from this. We should mention that Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. By comparison, Microsoft bought ZeniMax, like I said, a little over a year ago, for $7.5 billion. So nearly 10 times as much.
I did not know that ZeniMax went for so little. At the time, though.
It didn't feel little at the time.
Yeah.
It felt enormous at the time. Well, last week, Take-Two Interactive bought Zynga, the people that do Farmville and stuff like that. And that was for $12.7 billion. That was record-breaking at the time. That was the largest acquisition in the history of the video game industry. Mm-hmm. This is more than 5 times as much as the Zynga acquisition.
Can you imagine how ripped off ZeniMax feels right now?
Seriously.
It's like, remember when they bought Instagram for $1 billion? At the time, that was like, when Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, at the time, that was like, wow, that's insane. $1 billion for an app? That's insane. Then, like, only a couple years later, Facebook bought WhatsApp for $10 billion.
So I want to point this out. When the markets closed, I don't know a ton about stocks. I'm only going to talk about it briefly. But when the market closed on Friday, Activision Blizzard stock was at $65.39. Microsoft bought their shares for $95 a share, so $30 premium. This morning, their stock has shot up to, we're about an hour before the markets closed on Tuesday recording this. Activision Blizzard stock is at $82.83.
So do you think Nancy Pelosi bought in some Activision stock a couple of days ago? Wouldn't that be interesting?
I wouldn't be stunned. It could happen. Yeah, no, but it's up 26% since this acquisition. The way this has shot up is insane. And the reason I initially got interested in the stock price is I was curious to see how this whole investigation has affected Activision Blizzard. So, if you go back to the summer, their stock price was relatively high. Yeah. It was about at 95 last June, and the investigation opened in July. So it's kind of where they were before all this, and it's been steadily going down ever since these various investigations have been opened. And something that I thought was interesting was in November, the head of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, came out and said there was an internal memo that leaked where he was kind of distancing himself from Activision, saying like, we condemn these actions and, we may have to reconsider our relationship with them. And then the next day, Phil Spencer, a similar memo leaked, and I have to imagine both these guys knew these memos would leak. And specifically on the day the Phil Spencer one leaked, their stock plummeted. Well, I shouldn't say plummeted, but it went down $2 or $3. It was a noticeable drop. It had been dropping anyway, so I don't want to say it was just because of the Phil Spencer thing, but it continued to drop. It certainly didn't help.
Dude.
And then
that was so scummy of them. Like,
let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish, because last week, again, Phil Spencer came out and said that they would be changing, publicly said they would be changing the way that they dealt with Activision in a interview with the New York Times, and that dropped their stock price. It seems deliberately as a result of that, a little bit, about $1. And then they turned around this week and bought Activision. So obviously this plan was in the deal since then. Both companies were aware of it, but it seems weird for Phil Spencer to be publicly denouncing them, possibly affecting their stock price, or at least making the impression that like this investigation is bad for you guys and it's not going to go away. Let us just take the whole thing off your hands. That
is the scummiest move I have ever seen. When you're Microsoft and you're deliberately like, yeah, there's a controversy, yeah, but then you buy the company. That is like, how is that legal? Is that legal?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. We don't have a lawyer here.
He's trying to make enough money to buy himself a normal, good microphone with a stand. The last I've heard of him, I don't know. But yeah, this is like some Bill Gates era Microsoft shit. Like devaluing a company, then gobbling it up. Seriously.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. It does make me wonder what other things may have been happening, because like I said, I read those stock prices. The effect was, I mean, I don't want to say it's minor. $1 is kind of a lot in the grand scheme of things, but for Microsoft's $70 billion to it really isn't the biggest deal in the world. But like, it makes me wonder what else was going on, or if they were just making the impression on Activision.
Just to give some people an idea, I took out a calculator and did math for the first time in like 10 years just for this. So 68.7 billion, right? Just to give you an idea how much money that is. If you had 1% of that money, you would have $687 million dollars. Sorry.
Whoa.
But yeah, still,
no. That's crazy. You'd have more money than you'd ever know what to do with in a lifetime.
If you had 1% of that, then you had $6.87 million, which is still, that's enough money you can retire right now and live a lavish life.
Yeah.
That's like 1/100% of this acquisition, which is why capitalism needs to end. Like this, where's this money going? How do you spend 78.7? Did they pay in cash? Are they paying in? How is this happening?
I believe it said it was an all cash deal.
How do you do? How does $68.7 billion look in cash?
I don't know. Just for the record, it says from Microsoft's own press release, it says an all cash transaction valued at $68.7 billion.
So I'd imagine a lot of taxes are being paid right now.
Possibly. I mean, Activision hasn't paid taxes in a long time, so I don't know if.
Yeah. So why should Microsoft? Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah, really. There's no point.
I think you need to pay like a crazy amount of taxes for this kind of acquisition. I'd hope. Like
possibly, yeah.
This is just insane. Like, meanwhile, I'm at a job making $161 a month, and even then, they don't pay me every month. Sometimes. So, if I could just have 0.1% of this acquisition, just give it, just create a new tax called the Alan John tax. Every time a major American company makes an acquisition more than $10 billion, just send 1/100% to the Alan John Foundation. Just do that. That's fine, right?
Here's an interesting thing. So in the press release at the bottom, it says fast facts on gaming. And I guess this is meant for shareholders to get excited. They're talking about how many people play video games, how much the whole industry makes, blah, blah, blah. And it says one of the bullet points is the $200+ billion gaming industry is the largest and fastest growing form of entertainment. So $200+ billion. I feel like we can assume that means it's between like $200 and $250 billion. And if they're spending 67, that means that this acquisition is worth like, what, a fourth of the entire video game industry?
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. Oh.
Like, what? Jesus Christ.
I mean, they got Call of Duty. They got... Did they get Destiny? Is Destiny part of Blizzard?
I thought that Bungie took that independent. I could be wrong.
But it was on BattleNet. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, but it's not anymore, I don't think, right? No, it's published by Bungie now.
Okay, but who's next? Is it Sega, EA, or Nintendo even? Yeah, I heard that. I'm
not gonna lie, I did think, when I saw this, I was like, man, it could be Nintendo next.
It could be. It could be. It honestly could be. This is all they need to do. Like, oh, did you know that Doug Bowser had some bad stuff on his computer? Yeah, did you know that Reggie Fils-Aimé, he likes scat porn? Yeah, that's They spread this out in the internet, right? Value goes down. Nobody wants to see Mario anymore, and then they come in. Then Bill Gates calls in. He's like, "Okay, I'll give you $50 billion or you're dead." That's how business is done now. That's what I'm expecting. But no, like seriously though, they tried to
they did previously try to buy Nintendo. You're right. That did happen.
They
before.
were laughed at.
I don't think Nintendo would ever sell, and maybe Nintendo. Microsoft probably has the money to do a hostile takeover. I doubt they would. I don't think that would make sense. But I could see Sega doing it. I don't see why not.
Imagine Microsoft having Doom, Warcraft,
Wario,
Elder Scrolls, Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, Yakuza. Dude, it's going to be so hard to compete with them. It's going to be insane. What does Sony have? Spider-Man?
Bloodborne.
I don't know if Spider-Man's going to cut it. Like Spider-Man and Kratos. That's it.
That's about it, yeah. That's another thing. They didn't comment on whether or not things would be made exclusive for this. They did say that they're going to be making them, on Game Pass as quickly as possible, and things will probably be day and date like they were with Bethesda. And when they acquired Bethesda, if people don't remember, they similarly were like, we'll talk about exclusives. We'll figure it out in the future, blah, blah, blah. And Starfield isn't exclusive. It's likely every other major Bethesda developed game, if not published, will be
so here's
exclusive as well. So I would expect it from
with ZeniMax. Okay, maybe you could talk about that. Maybe $7 billion, not that much. When you're investing $68.7 billion, you're not going to allow those games go to PlayStation. I'm sorry, no, I don't see it happening. I don't see Warcraft 4 coming to PlayStation. I don't see it. I don't see Overwatch 2 coming to PlayStation either.
So here's the thing, is that a lot of ZeniMax games are single player. Yeah. So a lot of the money comes in from those initial purchases. With something like Activision, you're looking at a lot more, not free-to-play games, but a lot more microtransactions and subscriptions, continual purchases, stuff like that. I don't know if it's worth restricting for that, because if they put Fallout on PlayStation, then they're just going to get that money from them buying a PlayStation copy, and that doesn't necessarily equate a lot. If they don't put Call of Duty on PlayStation, then they're missing constant money coming in from DLC purchases and Battle Pass subscriptions and, stuff like that.
You might be right about the Battle Pass thing, because imagine you're a consumer and the new Oblivion, not Oblivion, oh my god, Elder Scrolls comes out and it's
the new Morrowind, the new Brink.
Oh, dude, I'd love a new Brink.
It'd be awesome. They should have announced it the same day as the acquisition.
Yeah, they should.
They should have announced the acquisition and their stock price goes up, and then announced Brink like 2 hours later and the stock price goes back down.
And okay, what was I talking about? Okay, so imagine you're a consumer, right? The new Elder Scrolls comes out. You have the chance to, and you're looking to buy a new console, right? So what you're looking for is either a PS5 that's probably not going to be in stock soon, and you're probably going to have to look for it on secondhand scalpers thing, whatever. Or you can get an Xbox Series S for $300, and you can just play it. You don't even have to buy the game. It's day one Game Pass. Game Pass? Game Pass. Game Pass. Anyways. So yeah, you have this choice. You either buy a PlayStation 5, right? That's already overpriced, arguably, and you have to pay $70 for a new game. $70 is going to cost, right? Because it's the new AAA title launch price. Or you can get a cheaper console that has Game Pass, right? Which is what, $15 a month, maybe 20?
10, I believe.
It makes sense from a financial perspective. Not only is it cheaper to go to Xbox. So yeah, what I'm saying is that they could, in theory, release games for both platforms, but then arguably it's still better, financially speaking, buy it on Xbox, on their Game Pass thing. I think that's an argument that could be made.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I do know?
What do you know?
I know that if you look into Tower 7, you're going to see some strange things, some inexplicable things.
I don't know what Tower 7 is.
Oh, the GBA Tempcast podcast question of the week. Google Tower 7 and report back to me in the Tempcast group on what you found. Here's this thing that I found on Reddit.
Hold on. Very quickly before we get into that, because I'm still kind of reading some quick things that have been coming out about this. We were talking about platform exclusivity. Apparently, Phil Spencer has commented on it in an interview with Bloomberg. He said, it's not our intent to pull communities away from that platform, and we remain committed to that.
Okay.
So just briefly want to say, I don't necessarily believe him. I think he might be talking about supporting games that are multi-platform right now, but not necessarily doing in the future. But I do want to read his statement. And I figured out where that rumor from The Verge was coming from, that they'll be kicking out Kotick. Apparently, there are some sources that spoke to the Wall Street Journal about it, but it's just sources right now. It's just... unnamed. It's just unnamed sources right now. There's nothing really pointing to it, but who knows? Could happen.
I mean, if they want to get away from the controversy, they're going to have to change some positions in that company, in those companies.
Yeah.
They're going to have to.
Oh, Microsoft did also announce it's going to be reviewing its sexual harassment and gender discrimination policies.
So
and
are they going back on them so they could...
that was one of Kotick's terms.
Kotick's first of all, no pants for females.
Yeah, he's like, listen, $150 a share if you keep the current policies, $95 if I can do things my way. It will be doing retroactive review into allegations against senior leaders, including Bill Gates, who stepped down from the board in 2020.
Wait, they're going to do an investigation against Bill Gates? Did you say that correctly? What?
Yeah, there have been allegations against Bill Gates, apparently, and they're going to be doing retroactive reviews of those allegations as part of this new policy.
Yeah, he divorced. Dude, yeah.
Was that part of? I remember hearing about the divorce. I didn't hear about the allegations. But it's interesting that they do that right as they're acquiring Activision Blizzard, which is in the middle of this giant lawsuit, right?
Oh my God, Bobby Kotick is going to become CEO of Microsoft. It's going to happen. Oh no! Oh my God. This is literally what's happening.
Yeah, there was also in the press release a comment from the current CEO of Microsoft, who they'd never obviously commented on the lawsuit with Activision, but they did kind of allude to it. The current CEO said, "We're investing deeply in world-class content community and the cloud to usher in a new era of gaming that puts players and creators first," and then said, and makes gaming safe, inclusive, and accessible to all. Which is like a very generic nothing statement until the very end, when they go from talking about creative stuff to by the way, we're going to make gaming safer.
Yeah, it's a little weird. That's just talk. That's just cheap talk. Talk is cheap.
Yeah, but it kind of alludes to the whole situation.
I guess. You think this is like some kind of Operation Paperclip going on? Like when the Americans took Nazi scientists in order to develop NASA?
Wait, so how does it connect to Activision Blizzard?
Because they're like taking away these problematic developers, right? And they're like, oh, we want to be on the good side. We don't want to be associated with... Anyways, moving on. Was this merger an inside job? Now, this is the part I wanted to get into, because just a very small detail that I noticed that brings this into not from just a scummy territory, but into para-illegal territory, because I think this is illegal, but probably not. So the current head of Blizzard, Mike Ybarra, right?
Okay.
He left Microsoft in 2019.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think they were hatching the plan back then and they sent him in as like an undercover operative?
Yeah. The thing is...
Has he had allegations against him? Do you think he told people to start harassing women? Do you think he faked that one lady's suicide to really fuck over Activision?
Oh my God.
It's a Jeffrey Epstein.
Imagine he just comes into this company. Hey guys, love your games, love Warcraft. Listen, these chicks though, super hot. You should look into them.
Really look into it. Get really in there.
This reminds me, Microsoft did literally the exact same thing with Nokia. Remember Nokia? Remember how they dominated the mobile phone brand sphere for decades, and then just went into nothing within a span of a couple of years, when their CEO was a guy who just happened to work at Microsoft previously?
Yeah.
That actually happened. And then Microsoft after that acquired Nokia? What if ZeniMax was the same thing? What if Microsoft sabotaged Fallout 76? This isn't like in a frogs are gay territory. This is like into like serious territory.
Corporate espionage.
This is corporate. This is Metal Gear Soft because Microsoft.
Micro Gear Soft.
Micro Gear Soft.
Corporate espionage action.
Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. This
Bobby Kotick crawling through the vents, taking pictures of girls in their underwear.
Somebody needs to turn that into a game.
I would play the shit out of that.
Yeah, what does Sony do? Is Sony shitting their pants right now? I don't know.
Yeah, so interesting thing about that. Microsoft said in their press release, when the transaction closes, Microsoft will become the third largest gaming company by revenue, behind Tencent and Sony.
Whoa.
So I don't know if Sony is shitting their pants yet. And the way, I don't know if that's like in order, if that means that Tencent is 2 and Sony is 1. And I don't know if that means specifically like Sony's gaming division is number 1, or if they're all considered gaming companies and, but they're accounting for the entire revenue of the company. But I don't know. Apparently Sony is still ahead of Microsoft in terms of revenue.
Oh my God, you just brought into perspective something that I didn't even realize. Tencent is humongous. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What if Microsoft had to buy Activision? Otherwise, Tencent would have. Oh my God.
That's interesting.
That's a good idea. That's like, yeah, we need to preserve these American like companies by acquiring them. Otherwise, like,
we're gonna have like a proxy Cold War between Microsoft and Tencent.
Oh my! This is what I'm telling you. This could have been a conversation between Raiden and Solidus. This is. You don't understand. This corporate espionage is a necessity for our own defenses. What do you mean? How is buying a company a necessity? It doesn't stimulate innovation. It goes contradictory to the main principles of capitalism. Yes. However, when you're dealing with a conglomerate such as Tencent, stuff like innovation, markets, monopolies, the free hand of whatever.
That was really good. I like that.
It sounds like a explanation. Like they're playing 4D chess. You think they're the bad guys, then they're the good guys, then they're bad guys again. Then are they?
What was that conversational AI that Microsoft released once that ended up going crazy? That could be like the kernel going into Raiden and everything.
The one that became racist within like 5 hours.
Yeah. Just calling in Raiden and be like, Raiden, turn off your console. Watch out, Jews did 9/11. Like, I need sisters. I need scissors.
Raiden, here's
61.
a riddle. What's 13% and 50% at the same time? What? What are you talking about? Google FBI statistics.
I should have said I need scissors 88. That would have been the better joke.
So yeah, what do we do? What stock do I buy? Do I buy Microsoft stock? Do I buy Activision stock? I wish we had a stockbroker.
You could buy stock in whatever company you think Microsoft is going to buy next. If shot Activision's stock right up.
You know what the listeners of the Tempcast should buy? Not stock. They need to buy cryptocurrency, specifically Brave Attention token. No, it's Basic Attention token, but it's supported by Brave. And donate to GBA Temp on Brave. That's right. I can't stop it. Oh my God, I can't stop it. I literally could not stop that. That was the first time in Tempcast history we heard that entire sound.
This is a revolutionary moment. This is almost okay. So the war against Russia didn't start, but we did have that historic moment.
Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah,
it's something.
It's at least something. Yeah. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this emergency episode of the Tempcast. I don't know how to stop recording because my mouse isn't working. I guess I'll have to remote control my computer through my phone.
All right. Good night, everybody. We'll let Alan John figure this out. So yeah.